All right, here we go. Hey, hey, hey. Back with Chop It Up with Coco. I got an extremely special guest here today, man. I got somebody who, this one right here, going to be very personal. I got somebody that I grew up with, so a lot of my heart going to be into this one. So I'm extremely excited to have welcome Mr. Buck Phillips, man. How you doing, Buck?
I'm good, man. Appreciate you having me on, brother.
Well, what I was talking about, man, is this, man. There's a lot of things that I'm gonna talk about here, man, that was real personal. Like I said, it's probably gonna be my most personal one, only for the simple fact that a lot of people don't know a lot of things about you and myself, why I went to Western, who you are to me, what you meant to me. So we're gonna go ahead on and jump right into it, man. But first of all, I just want to say, man, thank you for being who you are. But I want to jump right into it, man. It's gonna be the longest segment, and it's gonna be the best one. So we got so many similarities, man. It's so crazy that we grew up in the same neighborhood, the same streets, the same everything in the world. But what made you so special was this, man. Um, I talked about in a lot of my different segments about my brother Mike Blaylock. And this is one of the men that my brother grew up with, played sports with, and they had a friendship and they were so close and so cool. They was like super good friends, but at the same time, each other's competitor in a good way. And I was talking with you, Buck, a while back, man, and I just really wanted to let the world know who you are, man. So for me, this is a bio slash documentary of myself. But what I'm really doing with this, man, I'm celebrating the people in my life that meant something to me. And there's a lot of things I got to tell you live in front of the world that you probably never knew, but I'm excited to let the world know what you did to me. Because like I said, you influenced me in a way that you probably never knew. But like I said, we grown men now. We got our kids. We got our families. It's way 20 years later. But with that being said, back then I ain't telling you I looked up to you. You ain't telling me nothing. So
Right,
back then,
right.
our pride and ego as men, young men, we wasn't doing that. But now we grown, we adults, man. You really know who's been there for you. And for me to go through my little league career, to go through what I went through in high school, to go through what I went through in junior college, we got a lot of similarities. To go through what I went through
Yeah.
at Western, to go through what I went through in pro football, we really gonna chop it up on this page, man, and let people know who you are because they know about me. But what I want to do, I want them to know about you, man. So with that being said, man, I want to start about how we grew up. For y'all that don't know, Buck Phillips, man, Buck got the best name too, man. I'll tell you about how you had me get a tattoo too down the road, but that's down the road. But let me tell you a little bit about him, man, so I can go and get a floor to him. My brother Mike Blaylock, a lot of people know who he is. He was the biggest person in my life as far as football and who I looked up to. And he just had a big old heart in his shoulders. There's so much stuff about my brother that only I know and only Buck know and only people that grew up with him. So we talk from time to time, and he tell me little funny stories, and we're gonna get into some of those here down the road. But what I want to do for you, Buck, man, I already kind of told the world like how I grew up, where I was, moving from place to place, and things like that. Well, people don't understand we were so much alike because we never said much. Our demeanors were a lot alike back then, like real quiet, soft spoken, didn't say much. A lot of people probably mistook our counters for weakness, but they probably get it twisted and things be different. But with that being said, I love your demeanor, man. Talk about, if you're okay with it, man, talk about how you grew up, the things you did. And again, this is a celebration, man. Ain't no knock on mom and dad and sisters, and but we ain't doing that. This is a positive thing.
Okay.
But people don't know how you really came up. I told my story about how I grew up and when I moved and what I did. But if you don't mind it, man, I want to jump right into it and real. I want the people to know who Buck Phillips is. Kind of run them through, man, how you grew up a little bit with my brother and just things in general. Go ahead and shoot that, Buck.
So first of all, man, appreciate the platform, man. With you traveling the route you did and how I inspired you, man, that's from the heart, man. So
Mm-hmm.
appreciate that. So,
Yep.
for me, I came out of North Chicago. I grew up on the streets of
Yep.
Broadway. If you ask anybody about Broadway, they'll tell you from North Chicago. It's one of the roughest streets in the city.
Yep.
But on that city, back then it was back in the 80s when you had gang banging, you
Yep.
had people hustling, and you had people playing
Drugs, the
sports.
crack rock, all that real stuff.
You had it all. And to me, you either had to choose your lane. And some tried to choose both,
Mm-hmm.
but then the streets pretty much majority of them, got to majority of them. So with myself, I came up on the block and I was just fearless. I was able to hold my own,
Yes,
and
sir.
and I was competitive in everything.
Yep.
And, and
Yep.
if you knew me back then, you knew me for gymnastics, you knew me for wheeling
I'm
bikes,
about to talk about that in a minute when we get done.
and you know me for playing football. So And back then I had brothers and cousins that kept me away from the streets. So
Yep.
they looked out for me
Our story's
because they,
identical, man.
and then they, they used to be like, Buck, man, no, you gone, man. You ain't got nothing to do with that. So
Yep.
they kept me out of that. So, and that transitioned to football.
Yep.
So, one particular incident that I can come up with is, back in my football days, we used to play in Big Ben. That's what we called it. We played smear the quill when you got in the field and you just played football.
Made everybody miss. Everybody chase. You got to make everybody miss.
everybody. So, and then, we had this, it's always a dude in the hood that don't nobody try.
Yeah.
And his name was Robert Tate, and we called him Big Tate. May he rest in peace. And he was that dude, if you seen coming, you would go the other way because you ain't like want no problems.
Like Debo.
Yeah, he exactly like Debo. He come take your bite. He come do it all. Like, let me get that.
Right on.
So every time he come to the field and he want to play football, everybody, they ain't gonna touch him. He grabbed the football. He gonna
let him score.
He gonna let you score. And I seen him whoop somebody his age to try to tackle him because they tried to tackle him. So one day we out on the block, and he comes to play football. So, he grabbed the football and he going down the sideline. Mm-hmm. And I don't know what made me do it, but I hit this dude. I took his legs in front of him. He flew up in the air, crashed, fumbled the ball, and the neighborhood went crazy. Right. They was like, man, you hit Big Tate. Yeah. Man, me and my brother laughed about it to this day, man. He said, man, when you hit Big Tate, man, it hurt so bad, Coach. I couldn't cry because everybody was on the block looking. Man, I swear
knocked the wind out you and everything. But you wasn't gonna show that weakness. You wasn't gonna cry.
Man, my shoulder and arm was broke. I swear it was. But then after that, I had the confidence out the world, and that's why we talk about even through my college career, I was never scared.
Right on.
I didn't see size. I saw opportunity.
Yep.
And that's and that's how I was, and that was just part of it. That's just what I came from. Didn't have much. Yep. Like I said, we moved around a lot.
Yep.
Didn't come real stable home.
Yeah.
So we just had to work with what we had. But Chicago made me who I am.
There it is.
I got mad respect for them.
Yeah. So with that being said, man, I was talking about that, and like I said, all my episodes, man, and with life, man, being from where we grew up and how we grew up. I always say this, that, we played with the cards that God dealt to us. We didn't get a different hand. We get to pick our hand. So the cards that we dealt to us, our parents and the people around the way that kept us from dope dealing and drug dealing, because all our friends and family did that. And mostly all our friends and family that did that either in jail or dead. So we stayed away from that, and the people kept us away from that. So like I said, man, it was really, really rough. And like I said, one thing that was attached to you was by far the most physical 5'10" nigga that I ever seen. You know what I'm saying? And so like we grew up, man, in North Chicago and Waukegan and Zion and all those different places. We grew up flipping. And if you couldn't flip, you couldn't come out there. I don't know when certain people's hood do certain things, but if you couldn't flip, man, you couldn't come out there and kick it with us. If you couldn't ride no bike, and I know people like you couldn't beat you. Like you was so competitive, you was quiet, but you was so competitive. And I remember people talk about you all the time, like buck. Nigga used to ride a wheelie of a bike probably like 8 blocks. People trying to mess you up, but like that's your competitive side though. But like I said, the riding wheelies, man, for blocks, doing things that everybody says you couldn't do, and that's why you were so successful in your life and your football career, because of those different things. So like I just remember you so much, man. I remember my brother, man, true story. When y'all was playing at Zion Benton at one point, my brother, and this thing about it, man, my brother, there was a few people that was really close to him, and you was one of them people. Eric Stockton was real close with him. You was real close with him. And this is the reason why, because that was my brother. And I know what he would say. And he talked about Buck Phillips. He told me this, and I'm the only one can speak for him. He said he was worried about being a running back because he loved being a running back. And he was like worried. And I never seen my brother worry about nothing or no one or nothing. He was so confident and so, y'all was so much alike, quiet, didn't have nothing to say, just real chill, but could ball to a whole nother planet. But I remember him always kept saying to me, he said, man, it's this little nigga named Buck, man. I don't know if I'm going to be able to beat him out for running back. And he was terrified. And I ain't never in my life seen my brother terrified of nothing in the world, but he wanted to be a running back because back in our era, we thought Walter Payton and Barry Sanders.
Oh, yeah.
But Buck, talk about that competitive edge. Y'all was so cool, man. Y'all did so much, man. He never was jealous of you. He was never envy of you. And you, that's the epitome of you. You was never jealous or envy of nobody. All you did was give mad props to anybody that deserved it. But I remember my brother talking about you, and I ain't never heard in my entire life him talk about no other athlete like Buck Phillips, man. Go ahead and talk about that when y'all went to Zion Benton, man, if you don't mind.
Man, you know, growing up with Mike was always, he wasn't no real serious dude. He always wanted to have fun, always laughing, and always got the jokes and everything. And I say the same thing. Even before you said that to me, I mentioned it to you, and I said if me and Mike was playing football together on a football team, I probably would have never played running back because that's how cold I thought he was. Yeah. Mike was the man. I mean, and I only played 1 year with him. Yep. And then I played another year with him. Against him when I went to North Chicago as sophomores. Right. Then I know I think he went to Kenosha after that. But I only seen him for 2 years. Right. And anytime somebody bring up one of the baddest running backs in Lake County, he is in my top 5 because he was a beast.
I appreciate that, man.
He was, and you know, he was so funny because he was a big dude. He was a lot bigger than us, but he had on all the equipment, the neck rolls and the pads and everything. And he got the curl coming out the back of the helmet. and I mean that Zion team that we played with, was a beast. I mean, we went 9-0. But the one thing about Mike though, people probably don't know. See, I didn't play football until I got to high school.
That's crazy.
And the reason why I didn't play
was so dope.
And the reason why I didn't play because my parents couldn't afford me to play youth football. I remember I went out and I just stayed for a minute, but I never played organized football till I got
crazy.
To 9. That was my freshman year.
So cold, probably one of the best, if not the best that we done seen. We're gonna talk about your achievements in a little while. Go for it though.
So that was my freshman year. Not knowing, I knew the game, but not knowing much about the game. So going to a actual program. So I remember one time, this was during Hell Week, and it was raining and everything. And so back then I had some high top Reeboks, some basketball shoes.
Right.
Well, I didn't know nothing. So I'm going through the bags and I'm slipping and I'm falling. And we get in the locker room with Mike just laughing at me. He making jokes. Yeah. He's like, man, what is you doing? He said, man, take these shoes, man. And back then, I don't know if you remember the old Sharks.
The Sharks with all the cleats on the bottom. Yeah, them was the coldest shoes. Well, nothing better than Sharks. Nothing better than Sharks.
He gave me some Sharks, and they was a size too big. But what I did was I just put on some extra socks and I rolled with it. And those were my shoes for the year. And that's how we rolled. And that's my memory of that dude, man. He wasn't selfish, and and that's how we just bonded, man. He was my guy, from when I first seen him. I mean, we grew up the same, and I remember, coming over our house, going up the steps in Zion and everything back in them days, and you guys had your pops there, so. That was my dude, man.
He had so much love for you, man. I'm telling you, man. Like I said, that's funny how y'all both was. Like I said, y'all never was jealous of each other, never envious, just helped each other out in any way you could, man. And I just really applaud that just because you knew him. Like, there's a lot of people that heard about my brother. There's a lot of people that, but you really knew him, would roll with him and did things. I mean, we was talking one day and I just died laughing. He was like, man, your brother was so fast, man. Nigga had that curl hanging out the back, the real Michael Jackson curl hanging out the back with the neck brace. And he said another thing too, all his teammates, you and Eric gonna talk about, he had on every elbow pad, every hip pad, and he wore all the pads. For what reason? He was big and strong than everybody, but the fact of the matter is, just that picture, man, that video was so funny, man, when you talked about his curl out the back, man. Because back then, like I said, if you had no curl, man, you wasn't rocking. You wasn't where we was from. So I really appreciate you, man.
No, when you seen a curl, you knew you was on the wrong side too.
No, man. So with that being said, man, that was so cool for me to let you know a while back when we talked about that, man. Because like I said, there's some things that some people just can't speak for, but I can speak for that. Because like I said, I never really knew who you was. We all knew each other because y'all was a few years older than me, but I knew who you was because my brother would come home daily talking about Buck Phillips. I'm like, who the hell is Buck, man? And then next, I sent you. But I tell you, there's another thing too, man. You was probably the most physical little nigga I ever seen. As far as when I say little, I mean like under 6 feet. If you ain't 5, 6
Right.
feet and above, you consider little. You know what I'm saying?
Oh,
But
yeah.
you was so physical. I know there's a couple people you knocked out. I'm talking about clean. That story you just told me about flipping that big old dude on his head from the round away, that didn't shock me just because you was so quiet, but you was a heat-seeking missile. You hit anything, and people see you handsome dude, you real chill, don't got nothing to say. But man, you used to run up on folks, man. I'm trying to tell you, man. I seen you hit people who had never been hit, and they didn't know where they was at. So I just love that about you, man. Like I said, size is always a factor about you and myself and a lot of other people, man. But you ain't care nothing about no size. You ain't have no fear in your heart. You was a straight up G, official, quiet, but you was a straight up G, man. So like I said, I wanted to really talk about you, man. Like I said, when I decided to do this bio, man, I couldn't wait to get to you because of the fact of you grew up with my brother. You knew my brother personally. He had nothing but great things to say about you, and y'all always had so much love for each other. So for me, that's like a brotherly love that he had for you that made me have for you. So with that being said, man, that's how I ended up at Western Illinois. Do me a favor a little bit, man, Buck. Talk about yourself at the junior college, because this is the thing what I want to do too, man. You know, your moms, your dads, the people that raised you, man. I want them 10 years from now, 5 years from now. I hope to God they still alive. I want them to look at this and see who you are and what you did, your kids, your old lady, all the people in your life. I want them to know how bad of a son of a gun Buck Phillips was, because you ain't going to say it. You're so quiet. You're so humble, man. That's not your style. You will not. So me, I'm going to celebrate you. I'm going to brag about you because guess what? You like my brother. And so I want the whole world to know how cold and gangster you was with everything, man. Take me through a little bit, man. I know you had some great achievements in high school, but walk me through junior college, man, and why you decided to go where you went and how it all worked out and things like that.
So actually, coming out of in '91, coming out of North Chicago, I didn't really get recruited that much, only because back then I had the grades, I didn't have the high ACT score to go to the D1 schools, and I was small.
Yep.
So didn't get recruited a lot, and I think I went on one visit to Elmhurst College.
That's
it was
crazy. That's crazy.
D3, yeah, D3 school. So I was going to go there. Mm-hmm. So then I got selected to the North-South All-Star game, high school football.
Congrats to that. A lot of people don't get that.
Yeah. So me and Johnny Johnson from our team, which is standout quarterback.
That's probably one of the best teams I've never seen too, man. Just by the way, man, that North Chicago team was one of the best. I think y'all was number 1 or 2 in the state for a long time, and all them guys went on and did something special. But not to cut you off, but that North Chicago team with you, Johnny Johnson, Ozzie Newsome or someone, Ozzie, what's his name?
Young.
Ozzie Young, man, y'all was loaded. But go ahead on, keep it up, man.
So coming out, I actually didn't really know where I was going. I went to the All-Star game, and then it was a coach out of Hibbing Community College, actually the same school Eric Stockton went to.
Okay.
So I ended up going there, and Eric and John actually, took me in, and they drove me to Hibbing, Minnesota, way up north. Mm-hmm. So they took me to school and took me in, and we went up there and we balled out. I mean, we not too many people know about Hibbing, which is because it's way up north. But as far as the things we did was up there. Now, this team was full of D1 athletes. I asked this coach to this day, how did you get all these D1 athletes?
I got to cut in real quick. It's going to trip you out because I did not know that one of my head coaches in arena football ended up being, Cedric Robinson and Coach, they all go for it. I'm going to tell you about that down the road. I couldn't believe it, though, but go for it.
Yeah, so we ended up going to Hibbing, and it was cats out of Simeon, King High School. He went to the hood, and he got the best. This team was stacked. Cats from Dayton, Ohio, Michigan. Right. So we was a beast. We went 8-0. We were killing teams. We was outscoring opponents. We were 8-0 at this time. We was beating people We outscored them 363 to 40.
That's crazy.
So we was,
Wow.
I mean, we was killing teams.
Mm-hmm.
And of course, we went to the Junior College Bowl in Minnesota. We played in the RC Cola Dome and won the Minnesota Junior College Championship.
Yep.
So we went up there and did great things,
Mm-hmm.
things. But what happened up there is we got into some racial issues. Now, this is back in '91.
Yeah, it was back then. You know, we had the Ku Klux Klan back in the North Chicago, Zion, Kenosha area. We had all that going on, man. But go for it.
Oh yeah. So it was back then, and we was up there being called niggers, and man, and it was a restaurant owner saying he wouldn't serve us, and I remember that hit the paper, and after that hit the paper, he was serving us every time we was going to go play a game. We was eating at this restaurant. So, but then too, we had cats that was some dogs, and they was from the hood. Mm-hmm. And when them white people up there tried them, they weren't playing no games.
They don't care about that.
They weren't playing no games. They didn't back down from nobody. Plus, they coming from the hood. And they you know, that's how they built.
When the person made a certain way, man, ain't no change no matter the circumstance.
No, and that's exactly how it was. So long story short, we was on trimesters up there. So we went. Me and my roommate, Isaac Cleveland, he was from Ohio. We tried to stick it out. We tried to go to school because what happened was when we came back from the RC Cola Dome or the championship, what they did was they converted a church, not a church, but a hospital into dorms for us.
Wow.
So when we got back, they were shutting down the dorm. So something had happened, and we had to pretty much move out. So we had to find apartments, and we had a lot of people that was helping us out. It was just a handful of people.
Y'all should not be going through that, man. That's crazy, but go for it.
It was just a handful of people that messed it up as far as that was in the community. So we tried to make it work. You know, me and my roommate, we stayed until like the second semester, but it just got too much. Mm-hmm. So after that, you know, we went back home. So that's for the go, but I had a lot of friends that went to Grambling my sophomore year. So, I mean, I got actually accepted to go to Grambling as well because we all applied for Grambling. So they went. So that's that second year. So they were already down there. So I said, okay, I'm going to go down here and just go to school and try to figure things out. Mm-hmm. So I did that. And that's when the Eddie Robertson phase far as the coach. So I went down there and walked on. Mm-hmm. And how they had it when you walked on, it was so many people trying out down there. It was over 100. So when they had you run the 40, it was like you was running 40s against, it was 4 people, and they just had you running 40s. And I ended up being one of the fastest ones out there. So they pulled a handful of us to the side and was like, you know, why don't y'all come work out for us? And you know. So we going through drills, and I remember he said, where you from? I said, you know, Chicago area, Illinois. And he chuckled a little bit. So at that point, I can tell they weren't feeling it. They was feeling the boys that was from down south or the ones that they was recruiting. So at that time, so Coach Elijah from Harper called me. He was like, you know, he said, Buck, you still got a year left of eligibility because, you know, when I went to Grambling, that was like my red shirt year.
Right on. You
so
ain't played, so you was good.
So he said, you know, come to Harper. And so I went to Harper, and that was pretty much my junior year / sophomore year, whatever you want to call it. Mm-hmm. So, you know, I went out there, and it's crazy because they had me playing free safety. Now I'm 5'7", 160 pounds playing free safety.
They had you anywhere.
And the reason why they did that because I was one of the fastest on the field, so they wanted me to cover the DBs and things like that.
Help them out.
But as you know, when you playing certain coverages, you gotta check the tight end. Yeah. And I just come up and rock the tight end, and I run that. So I mean, we went to the RC Cola Dome as well. So. After that, you know, at the end of the year, you know, I was selected as the most defensive, most valuable player at the end of the year.
Awesome.
So, awesome. And then after that, and I was one of the premier punt returners in the league as well. So
they were scared of your ass. Excuse my language. They were scared of your ass, boy. That's all I heard about it. And I don't mean to cut into your business, but for you to be that valuable in junior college has some of the best players, because around that time, I want to say that Prop 48 was coming out and things like that, and people had the grades or the right SAT scores. So we had to go to, because my dream was to play Division I football, probably like yourself. I Division III, Division II, not that it was below me, but I always had a dream, because what everybody probably told you the same, which I don't know, but everybody told me because of my size and height, you won't play Division I football. When you told me that and told me what I couldn't do, that got so big. My chip on my shoulder was insane. That's all I wanted to do was play Division I football. So for you to be like pretty much the defensive player of the year, talk about after that. Like I said, we all got a lot of little bad breaks, man. But for you, I just can't believe, man. I can't wait. The NFL missed on you too, but we're gonna get to that as we keep going. But finish talking about being a defensive player at Harper, man.
So yeah, I was defensive player of the year for Harper. I was all conference defensive back. All those things. I was one of the, I had another element because I can punt return as well. So even in when I went to Hibbing, I was one of the top punt returners in the league.
Right.
One of the division leaders. I had 10 interceptions. Going to Hibbing. So I balled out up there.
Can I ask you a question?
Yeah.
This is gonna be a hard question, man. I got my opinion, but I want to see what you think. You think you're better punt returner or better defensive back? I always wanted to ask you that, but I said I'm gonna wait till put you on the spot. It's the only time I'm putting you on the spot is right now. You think you're a better defensive back or a better punt returner?
You know what? I'll say punt returner because ain't too many people can do it.
Nah, it's hard. You gotta have some balls to do that, boy. But go for it. I think you're a better punt returner. I think you was a great DB because you was fat. Like you didn't have no weakness. Only the height, but that's not a weakness. It's just part of what God gave you. But you was fast 4'3". You was extremely physical. You was a super smart man, like smart genius. Coverages, man zone, and make a difference. But yeah, I used to see you come up and knock lineman head off, no matter who it was. You used to murder anybody in another uniform. But go ahead and finish talking about your business, dog.
Oh yeah. So, so far as like I said, I think more of a punt returner because it's a skill that everybody don't have, and you have to see the field. You have to react. If you play football, you gotta react on the dime because everything is moving so fast.
It's hard. It's really hard to catch a ball that high and you got some good punters. You gotta have some. I seen the boy get his collarbones broke. You know what I'm saying? And I still, because like I said, the way we grew up, none shook us up. I wasn't none gonna shake me up, so that didn't bother me. A lot of people didn't want to do it because they were scared to do it, like because you pretty much get hit without being seen. But this is one thing I told you. They got to give me 2 yards. You give me 2 yards, that's all I need. I don't need 5. I don't need that 2-yard little bubble. I'm good.
Yeah, because because I didn't play offense, but I played offense in high school. So anytime I got the punt return, I never fair catch ever.
Yeah, me either.
Ever. And I tell you, I never fair catch. If
I
get hit, I get hit.
Yep.
So leading up to going to Western, actually, Western was the only school that actually recruited me that gave me, that was willing to give me a scholarship.
Okay, so time out. So I want to talk about that a little bit. So like my thing is this, man. Again, the cards that are dealt to you, man, and I'm gonna tell you one thing you always did, Buck, and I admire you the most in the world for this, man. You was always positive, dog. Your attitude, your aroma, your style, everything about you, you never was negative. Anybody that really know you, you ain't got no negative bones in your body, dog. You so positive. You going through all the stuff you grew up, how you grew up, moving around, going to different schools. You even went to school in Warren. You went all over the place, but it didn't stop you from smiling. Yep. It didn't stop you from being a dog G that you was. And then you pretty much defensive player of the year in junior college at Harper. No schools really offering you anything, and that's why we're gonna talk about Coach Ball in a minute too, because that's hard and that's sad. There are a lot of guys like you go through that, and it's sad. You know what I'm saying? Just for the simple fact that if you'd have been at any big Division I school, we'd have seen you on Sundays, man. There's no doubt. And anybody that played with you won't say that about you because they love you. But you was always so positive. No matter what happened in your life, you turned a negative into a positive with your smile and with how you was and how you treated people. But like that's so bothering that you can put up stats on top of stats, and you were never selfish. You just did anything they wanted you to do. Anywhere they put you, they didn't put you on the line, DN, you would have went. They didn't put you a linebacker, you would have went. You could have played anywhere, but it's just so sad, man, that that happens to a lot of athletes. And like you was somebody that didn't deserve that. So, you know, for you to come out of JUCO that way, man, and for Western to give you that shot, we'll keep going. But I'm gonna tell you the only reason why I went to Western, man, is because of you. But go ahead on, finish talking about how coming out of junior college, best player, best punt returner, best everything in the world, and only one school giving you some, dog. Talk about that, dog.
Yeah, you. So I remember when Coach Eliza, he said, "Buck, if Western offer you a scholarship, you better take it." But literally, no, I didn't have a choice. So
everybody was shocked, probably.
Yeah, I didn't have a choice. But you know what? What I used to do, and this the God's honest truth, I used to just pray for a scholarship. Mm. I knew from my background and my upbringing that I couldn't really afford college. My parents couldn't afford college. But that's one of the things I used to pray for. I didn't pray to be rich. I didn't pray to be, a millionaire. I just said, I just want a scholarship, and you give me that, and I'll do the rest. And I was blessed with that.
Yeah, it is 100. Yeah, it is.
And I was blessed with that. And I tell people that because it's the truth. Because I knew, because I grew up so fast. I seen things that I shouldn't have seen.
Absolutely correct.
Lights getting cut off and eviction notice and moving around and not knowing, what the next month was going to look like. Yeah. So, and that was my drive, far as looking at where I come from. And two, one of the things I want to mention is one of the motivation with me when I was in high school, I had my daughter when I was a senior. Mm. I had my daughter.
That's pressure, man. That's a lot of pressure to have a daughter at that age, move around like we did, living from place to place. If you watch a little bit of my bio, I was staying with people. People was worried about what they gonna eat. People was worried about what they gonna watch. I was worried where I was gonna stay. You know what I mean? So for you to do that, man, that took a real man to do that, to have a baby, a daughter in high school, man, and worrying about college, man. And most cats that were great athletes, there's a lot of great, amazing athletes out of North Chicago, Waukegan, and Zion that got that put in their face and they stayed home and their lives were totally different. So I applaud you, man, to a whole nother planet for doing that, man, and having a baby girl. And I want her to see this, man, and just know what you went through. So keep on talking, man.
Oh, yeah. So, I had my child in April of 91, went to school in August of 91. Man. And I knew I had a different drive after that. Yep. I had a different motivation. So, yep. and my motivation was not to have her grow up the way I had to or provide her the things that I didn't have.
Correct.
So, back to, the as far as at Hibbing, I mean, going from Harper, when Coach came in, now we were staying in Hoffman Estates. We had a 2-bedroom apartment. It was five of us in that apartment.
That's crazy.
And we had one car.
Hey,
and we would stay close to campus.
And I'll tell you another thing too. That ain't easy to have 5 dudes that 1 or 2, 3 of them probably stink. Some of their hygiene ain't right. They farting on you and all that. You fighting with them because I don't want to smell all that. It's like they invading your privacy because y'all all in the same spot. That's crazy. But keep it, man. Go ahead.
Oh yeah. So and it was crazy because I was the littlest one in the apartment, but I was the one that didn't take no shit. I was out. If you didn't clean up, if you didn't clean up, man, I'm gonna get at you. Then too, I remember. So I had a roommate, and he didn't clean up. Man, I took everything out of his room and put it in the hallway. Now I went to school when I went to Harvard. It was linebackers and linemen.
Yep.
From Chicago, Ohio, Detroit, and these boys were dogs. But
right
man, I just didn't care. But and they're my guys to this day. But that's just how
they respect you so much for that, because that's how you was.
And the thing is about me, I didn't have much, but whatever I had, man, I made it. I made it worth it. You know what I'm saying? I made it look good.
Right on.
So when Coach Ball came to recruit me and my roommate Isaac Cleveland, so that was a blessing. He answered my prayers.
Right on.
So and he don't understand how, and I know we'll get into it, but he don't know how he changed my life pretty much. Man. So
correct.
So after that, that's how I got to Western, and walking on there, being defensive player of the year, of course, I'm like, man, I'm finna come in here and kill it.
I'm finna prove another point. Everywhere you go, you had to start over and prove a new chapter of your greatness. That's what you had to do. I had to do it. We all had to do it. And that's what I'm talking about, man. So when you got the Western, man, talk about Western a little bit, man, and how, because I'm going to tell you about Coach Ball, man. I might have more here as well. Coach Ball, man, he was one of the only coaches that looked me in my face and told me, you get a chance to play running back. You know what I'm saying? And like I said, I was talking with Eddie Joe and a few guys. I remember when I went to Western, it was so funny. They laughed at me. You know what I'm saying? Everybody, what you play, DB? No, I'll play running back. And they just chuckled. Everybody laughed. And it wasn't disrespectful laugh, but I'm like, I'm 5'9", 5'10", about 170 pounds soaking wet. So everybody else 220 and 200 and 240 and 4'3" and big as hell, transferring down from big Division I schools. But I wasn't caring about none of that, dog, because I knew me and I knew what I was capable of doing. But for that man to come to my crib, he came to the hood. He came where I was staying. I was staying with somebody, Coach Ball and Coach Will. Coach Will, my second favorite coach. Because they came to my crib, dog, and he looked me in my face and they said, look, we got this person, this person, and this person. But we see you at the bowl game. We know what you're capable of. Size don't mean nothing to us. And we love underdogs. We know your purpose. We know where you're trying to go. We know what you're trying to do. And if you come to Western, we ain't switching your position unless you want to switch. You're going to have an opportunity not to play cornerback, not safety, not no receiver. You're going to play running back, and it's up to you to get where you got to get. And that's all he had to say. And on top of that, you know what I'm saying? When I ended up going to Western on my visit, when I seen you, because I didn't know you went there to keep it 100. When I seen you, done deal, only for the simple fact that not because I knew you and knew of you and you knew my brother and all that, but we were similar in stature. So I knew if they was going to give you a real opportunity, like they told me in my face, and they gave you that, and you was the man. You was Mr. Western Illinois. It's a few guys that was monsters, but everybody knew Buck Phillips. And I'm going to show you a picture of what I'm talking about in a minute, but keep talking about Coach Ball, man.
So when I went to Western, it was actually, man, it was actually a culture shock because, you went to JUCO and coming out of JUCO, you just paying off raw talent. You ain't really being taught anything.
Nothing.
You just going off straight raw talent.
Yep.
And so when I got to Western, back then, that's when you report to camp and you got to do 100 110s and you got to run them in 14 seconds with 32 seconds rest. Now,
hey, what about in the morning? Everybody come down from the dorms or wherever, them lights, running them 200s with them garbage cans. Tell them about that.
Yeah. So I remember reporting to camp, and you had to bench press 185. So I get there, I get to camp 185. Man, I swear I do it about 2.5 times.
I probably couldn't do it one. They had a 225. I couldn't even do one though.
And they had 225, and it's like, man. So then, they feed us in the morning, and we gonna run these 110s, and you had to, of course, you with the running backs, the DBs,
the fast,
so you in the fast group, and so you got to make it in 14, 12, whatever it is, and then 32 seconds ref, and you back at it. Man, I swear we did that, and I threw up everything they gave me that morning, everything. And I sat on the field and was like, man, do I really want to do this?
Yeah. It'll check your manhood, man, real quick. It will.
And I questioned myself too. And then after that, as the season got on, you get in shape. But when I got there, mad respect too to my DB coach, Coach Kleiman.
Yep.
He was my dog, man. When I got there, my back pedal was so terrible.
Yep.
He was that coach that he was young, so he'll get out there and he'll show you how to do it.
Yeah.
And it'd be funny, and we laugh at him. He'll show you how to do it.
Yeah.
But he was so cool because he was a player's coach.
Correct.
And me coming out of a JUCO, I was so behind because even coming out of high school, all I knew how to play is man. They just put me on the best receiver. You just play man.
That's all they did. And you used to shut them all down. Care what nobody says, to shut them all down. And all of them. Go for it.
And that's how I used to be. So I didn't really learn anything but playing DB. So when I got to Western, I was second, third string. And I went to Coach Kleiman and I said, man, hey, why am I'm the best athlete on the field, man. Why am I
right
second, third string? He said, Buck, you don't know the coverages, man. You all over the place.
And college coaches get fired. Coach Baldwin ain't going. They like, if he ain't right, he got to go over there.
No, man, my back pedal, like Lou and Frank used to laugh at me in the drills because my back pedal used to be so toe up, man. I was quick
Oh, my God.
and knew how to react, but Coach Kleiman, he groomed me. He groomed
Oh,
me to
man, that's funny, man.
play the position, though, man. And after that, I tell you what was my breakout. It was the first game of the year. I was the backup punt returner. And the dude that was in front of me, he got in trouble. So he got suspended for that game. And they came right before the game, say, Buck, man, you punt returning tonight.
Yeah, it is.
I'm like, okay. So, and the first punt return they kicked, I took it to the house.
Hey, that's you.
And then
that's you.
In that game, they was punting to me. I was almost breaking them. And after that, they was like, man, we got to get this dude on the field. They start moving people around after that. Yeah. And that's how I ended up being on the field. So it's like you got to stay ready. And that was my opportunity. You know, things work in different ways, but that was my time to shine.
I love that about you, man. And like I said, your whole life you battled uphill. Every obstacle, you took it square on and knocked it right over, man. And like I said, for me to go to Western Illinois, man, it had a lot, almost everything to do with you. I did get an offer to go to UCLA because I was coming out of junior college, man. I was all over the place, man. I got the ball every play when I was in JUCO, man. Play Harper in the bowl, get RC Cola Bowl. And they had, I think, the number 4 defense. And we ate them alive, the whole team. But the point being is, when them folks came to my crib, man, and looked me in my face and gave me that opportunity, man, I went to Western. You know, I could have Northern Iowa had me on a visit, UCLA, all these big schools. But, man, when I went to Western, it felt like the hood. It felt like home. We ain't had a new stadium. We ain't had a new gloves. We ain't had a new uniforms. We ain't had a new nothing. We had a G-dog coaches. Like, I thought Coach Ball was very motivational. You know what I'm saying? Sometimes I didn't know who he was looking at, but he was motivational. He got done talking. We was ready to run through the wall. If we was on the Sears Tower and he said, let's jump off, we would have did it. He was a great motivator, to me at least. You know what I'm saying? And then he had a perfect sidekick of coaches. Man, Coach Wilt was so gangster. I love Coach. Coach Wilt never complimented none of y'all for nothing. He just give you the bob on the head. But Coach Wilt was so G. He made us mentally strong. Coach Wilt made us mentally strong. The weight rooms, you know what I'm saying? With the 2 sweaters on and locked the door and 800 degrees and he got on the big old belt and he swole. He didn't care about that. Once we locked the door, you ain't getting no water and you ain't getting out unless you pass out.
Yep.
All that did was made us mental toughness, man. And then you got a whole bunch of guys that was just from around the way who had a lot to prove, man. So like I said, man, so much big shots out to Coach Ball, man, Coach Wilt, man, for doing that, man. So like another thing too is that, like I said, when I seen you, man, I knew your struggle. I knew you. They don't know what you went through. I knew what you went through. So for me to see you there, man, as soon as I seen your face, man, it was like a joy of just love and brother. Like I felt like a little brother. And then I saw you had a tattoo, nigga, and I didn't even like tattoos. But nigga, my first tattoo I got was solely because of you. You had a tattoo, man, because you was swole. You know, you was a little nigga about 170, but you was swole up and you used to dot. People I knew called you put stars in their eyes because you was knocking niggas out in high school, college. You was a hitter, dog. You was like a linebacker. But I got my first tattoo, man, because your name, I loved your name, Buck. I know you told me that it wasn't your real name. You was going to tell me about that. But you had a tattoo on your arm, nigga, that said, Buck 'em down. And I never wanted tattoos. I hated needles growing up. Man, I got my first tattoo because of you, G. I'm trying to tell you. Because what I saw on you, that tattoo, Buck 'em down, hit me right in my ear, my face right now. And what it meant for me was, it was your story. It was you. Like, I remember you had, I think, a bulldog or something that said, Buck 'em down. And that's just you. Like, that talked about you, how you hit people. Like, you was a heat-seeking missile. You didn't wait for nobody to come help you. You was going, and whoever you hit, they always went backwards. So my first tattoo, man, when I went to Western, everything I did when I was young, I wouldn't tell you then. I wouldn't tell nobody that then. But you made me do everything in my mind because I trusted you. I knew you. That made me trust Ball and them. That made me do everything. So, like me, as far as tattoos, I ain't want no tattoos. I got my first tattoo. It says no excuses because you had that Buck 'em down. I'm like, so I started to realize tattoos, and I hated needles. It was your story. So I got, man, 200, 300 tattoos now, and it's the story of my life. You understand what I'm saying? So when I saw that, you put that in my head, man, I saw like, damn, Buck 'em down. That nigga cold. He be hitting, knocking them out. And I saw that, and that was you. It couldn't have, you didn't have to say nothing. That was you. So like I got the no excuses. I started getting tattoos that meant something to me, but you put that in my mind. I never told nobody. I never told you. I'm telling you the truth. I got 300 some tattoos, and it started because my tattoos is a story. I got my daddy, I got my brother, I got everybody on me. But when I saw that on your arm, because I never wanted tattoos, because you know my pops, you remember my pops, he had the tattoos on his arms. My daddy was crazy, you know what I'm saying? I'm like,
Right.
no, I ain't doing none of that. But when I saw you, Buck, man, real talk, man, I'm telling you, real recognize real, man. Everything about you was laid back, you was quiet, you was chilling, you wasn't chasing no girls, you was just chilling, dog. Like positive, cool in the fan, fly as hell, you know what I'm saying? And all American, everything you did, I wanted that. I'm like, I'm getting all that. Everything Big Bro did, I'm going to get all of that. You know what I'm saying? So I had looked up to you because I looked up to my brother Mike. And I ain't have my brother Mike no more, so I looked up to you, man. So when I went to Western and saw they treated you that way, that they gave you a small individual an opportunity to try to make some of themselves, man, that's all I needed. Like I said, to me, I don't know how everybody felt, man, but Western was like the hood. Not like ghetto than a motherfucker, but it was like the hood. It felt like hood. Like I said, nothing against Northern Iowa with the dome and the new gloves and all that new stadium, all them other places. But when I went to Western and I saw it, and then I saw you, man, that was the loudest thing in the world, man. So like I said, man, with Coach Ball, what he did was, you know, and like I said, I'm going to ask him about this. But this is something that was real personal to me as well, man. And I didn't even know this. I had heard about it, but I didn't know this meant so much to me because we got a lot of similarities, Buck, like the way we moved around and the way our life was, our size, our stature, people judged us and things like that. But this meant a lot to me, man. You check this out, man. That made me smile, dog. That right there was so personal to me because you said that to me. You know what I'm saying? And that's just two young kids coming from the bottom, from the straight up from the mud, regardless of the situations. Our parents did the best they could for us to come from the bottom and be on them schedules, man. Man, that shit was so heart-filling for me because, like I said, I followed in your footsteps because, like I said, my brother Mike was gone, and I looked up to you like my brother, man. So I really, really appreciate you. And I told you this is going to be my personal segment, man. But what I want you to do now, man, if you don't mind, I want you to talk about, here's your platform. Talk about, man, your daughter, the people in your life, your moms, is she still alive? I pray to God she is. All the people that was really important in your life, man. Please go ahead on and take this time and salute them, man, and celebrate them, man, because this is just a celebration of the people that was amazing in my life, man, and you meant so much to me, Buck. So if you can do that, man, knock it out.
No, you know, even though we moved around a lot, we had moms, which I had four. It was four of us. So brother Danny, sister Tina, and sister Denise. So it was four of us, and moms did her best to try to take care of us. But you know, she had some struggles. But we had some aunts that really held it down. You know, my aunts, I would tell you, raised me to be a man.
Yeah, it is.
So, you know, even when mom struggled and we had to go live with them, you know, Aunt Bernice, Dorothy, Grace, Mary. I mean, whenever we needed something, they were there.
That's
so,
what's up, man.
You know, I can't say that we didn't have nothing because we did. We had a strong family.
Yep.
And
love. You know, that love is priceless.
And even my brothers and sisters, we took care of each other because we grew up fast. It was pretty much my sister Tina took care of my younger sister because she used to have to take her to practice with her.
Yeah, it is. Kelly,
basketball.
Our lives are so similar. I had my sister them took care of me. Man, our lives are so similar, man. But finish up.
So you know when so you got to understand when I was in college, every time I came home, I really didn't have nowhere to go. Yeah. So I go stay with my aunts. I go stay with my sister, wherever I can go. But so when I was at Western, I had an apartment. Everything was paid for.
Yep.
You know, I was on scholarship, so you know I was at home. But when I came home, I didn't really have anywhere to go. But my aunties made it possible, and you know, everything I did was for my daughter. Every time I did a interview in college or anything, and they asked about it, I said, you know what, you know, my motivation is my daughter because I don't want her to grow up the way I did. I didn't want to grow up her seeing, you know, lights getting cut off and we're moving all around. So my aunties were my
hot water. We got a border, hot water to take a bath. Oh yeah. Got light candles in the crib, nigga. That's that real struggle. We had it.
And one of my big inspirations. This was back in my high school days. You know, I went to 4 high schools in 4 years in high school, and one of those high schools was Warren. Mm-hmm. And my Aunt Mary, I remember, you know, I was at the point where I needed some structure, and this is just me being grown. Right. And I said, man, I need some structure. And I asked my dad. I said, can you ask Aunt Mary, can I come stay with her? He was like, okay. So he asked her. She came and got me. She took me. We went to court. She got custody. She did
Man,
it
that's
the right
love.
way.
Shout out to her,
And
man, for that, man. Shout out to her for
oh
that.
yeah. So I mean, she had a son, and his name was Roby, and we were the same age.
Mm-hmm.
And I mean, we got along real good. So when I went to Warren, one of the things she taught me, I mean, she had structure. She was doing good for herself.
Good
I
for
mean,
her.
nice car, nice house, and she
She
was
made you
humble
want
about it.
that. She made you
Oh
want
yeah,
that.
oh yeah. That was my motivation. I said, this is how I want to live when I grow up. She had a nice job. She was running things at work.
Yep.
I was like, man, that's
Yep.
G, man. I
Alpha.
like how she. And then one of the things, so when I played in high school at this time, like, none of my parents ever came to my games. So
Buck, man, I'm telling you, man, you're gonna put tears in the nigga IG just because I'm telling you, man, I went through those same things. You know what I'm saying? I would have gave everything back for my dad to watch me play one high school game, you know what I'm saying, or one pro game or one college game. I would have gave back every penny I made in my career to have them at my game. My mom's, my dad, them just to watch me play. So when you talk about that, man, that's so personal because I ain't never had that as well. And I always talked about that, and I ain't want. It's not a negative thing. But man,
right.
I see my friends and family, they folks be at their practices. That shit's so personal to me, man. But go ahead, man, keep it.
But that's the reason why I never miss my daughter's game ever. She'll tell you about it. But far as my aunt, one of the things she did, and actually this was one of my best games, and this was when we was playing Zion. And I mean, when I was at Warren my junior year, they gave me the ball 30 plus times a game.
Right.
So, and I remember she came to the game, and she was like, I'm gonna come to the game. I don't know nothing about it. All I knew you was scoring touchdowns, but I was there.
But I'm coming.
Man, when she said that, man, I was like, man, that's love.
You wanted to make her proud, man. She didn't know nothing about football. She just wanted to come support you, man.
And once that happened, one of my best games, and after that, I was like, you know what? That's how I'm gonna raise my child. That's how I want things to be.
Have her had that feeling.
I never missed door the game. I even coached when she was in, 6th, 7th grade.
That's
basketball.
Awesome,
and it was basketball. So
that's awesome.
And
I know you can't hoop. I know you can't hoop. You just
no.
Play with you, dog.
So I just wanted to be there, and that was my motivation. So after that, I knew what I wanted.
There it is.
And so and that's how it happened. And I'm gonna tell you another thing too. When I was at Western, when I graduated from Western,
mm-hmm.
the only people that was now I was one of the first to graduate out of my family.
Congrats on that, man.
Appreciate it. And it was my daughter and my daughter's mother, which is my wife, Kia, to this day.
Congrats to that, man.
So when I graduated, she was like, didn't nobody show up. I mean, when nobody here, and you was fine with that. And I was like, yeah, because I'm used to it.
Yeah.
I'm used to getting it because that's just my motivation. I knew which direction I was going to, and she was.
That showed you that woman that was there for you. That showed you what all you needed. That showed you what all you really needed. That's what that showed you.
Oh yeah. And then, I mean, you look around, see everybody, parents. I wasn't, getting care packages and all that kind of stuff.
A brand new car and all that.
So, but and even my brothers and sisters, far as leaning on them when I was in school. So me and my brother, we was real close.
Right.
And he chose the streets, and I chose football, and I chose to go to college. So that's why I say we had those choices, but you could have got pulled in any direction.
Yep.
But that was just my motivation. But those are the people that stood out to me. And plus, one of the things too, my group of friends.
There it is. I was about to tell you that, man. Go ahead and talk about them boys, man. Go ahead and talk about them boys, because they love you to death, man. I'll tell you right now, man. When your name come up, man, them cats, they get all perky and they start feeling good, man. Go ahead and talk about your guys, man. You know what I mean?
So my high school guys that I grew up with, so we had this little group called the 9-1 Dogs, and we was like the popular, the athletes that going to school, and we had a little group, and we thought
Yeah.
we were all that, but to
Five
this
heartbeats
day,
or something.
man, yeah, to this day, man, I was more afraid to show them my report card than I was my parents, because we kept each other so grounded, because they'd talk about you. If you got some bad
Yeah.
grades, they'd
Yeah.
talk about you, they crack jokes, and they had you mad. And I was the type of person, if you talk about me, I want to fight.
Want to fight. Yeah, it
So
is.
that was so that was my motivation. I didn't want to get no bad grades. I didn't want them to talk about me. But to this day, far as, I mean, we real close. We there for each other, good or bad, things like that.
That's so
So
cool, man. That's cool that
so I
y'all can hold
mean,
each other accountable for that, man. That's for me, that's heart filling. You know what I'm saying? For you and your boys to hold each other accountable for y'all's grades and things like that, man. You don't see that, man. Like I said, we all a product of our environment, man. And people don't think that's real, man. When I see kids make it out, man, I am so happy and I salute them so much, because man, your environment will tear you up if you let it. Your environment
oh
will
yeah.
tear you up, man. Just to get up out of there is a solution, man.
Yeah, and you do have to choose your circle, and our circle was so tight, and everybody was trying to go to school, everybody was trying to do certain things,
Mhm.
and to this day, all of them successful young men,
Awesome.
and we still, hang out. Of course, we got different lives, we got families and things like that,
Right.
but when we get together, man, it's a celebration.
Right on.
So and those are the dudes that raised me pretty much. Even
Right.
if
Yeah.
if it wasn't nobody in the stands, and we were just playing football and I was with them guys, that's
That's all you
who I
need.
need. They was
Yeah.
family.
I agree with that,
And
man.
they family to this day. So, I mean, shout out to, like Gerard Wade, Daryl King, Ozzie Young. Them was my dogs, and they still is to this day. So, you know, just shouting them out. But
See,
them
Buck,
was yeah.
that's what I'm talking about, man. That's why I wanted to do that, man, because I know they're gonna check this out and they're gonna look you in your face, man, and it's gonna put tears in their eyes, because that's what we doing, man. We talking to the people that mean something to me. So I'm so glad I got you face to face, man, and let you know how much you meant to me. So for you to let them folks know how you feel, man, and what y'all went through, man, this is personal. You know what I'm saying? But it's a platform to tell the people who you probably never told, and you probably already told them. I told you, thank you. You know what I'm saying? But to tell the world thank you for you being a straight up dog and everything you did, you was a leader to me, man. Like I said, that leadership got cut when my brother left, because he was everything to me. So for you and him to be a lot alike, for you to be how you are in life in general, I've never heard nobody say not one thing negative about you. They did, it was hating. I ain't never heard that. So with that being said, man, I really, really appreciate you, Buck, man. Your journey, your ups and downs, your environment. You being a great dad. I'm sure you're an amazing husband. You know what I'm saying? I pray to God that you and your family stay healthy, man. But I'm so glad you was able to talk to those guys that been there for you, that held each other accountable, man. Because like I said, at the end of the day, man, that's what this is all about, man. Telling the people you love them, let them know how much you appreciate them, because you never know when our time. You know what I'm saying? Knock on wood. But with that being said, man,
Oh,
I had to let the world know, man, what you meant to me. You're forever Leatherneck, man. I really appreciate you being the way you was with me. When I came, you welcomed me in. You know what I'm saying? You just, let me know the ins and the outs. And like I said, everything you did, man, I wanted to beat you. I wanted to be better than you. We so competitive. We grew up, man, we so competitive. You know what I'm saying? I couldn't wait to beat my oldest brother in running. I couldn't wait to beat the people. If you was the best, I'm going to challenge you. I'm going to go try to take it from you, because that's all we know. You know what I'm
yeah.
saying? But with that being said, man, I'm telling you, one guy that you should have been in the league, man. Like I said, to be an All-American at Western, one of the best, if not the best, punt returner ever to come out of 1AA football. I felt like that. And if I get a hold, what I'm trying to do is I'm going to put them highlights up, man. So the world, when y'all see Buck Phillips, number 23, get it, man, I say he be getting it. So the NFL, they missed on you, man. And so it's pretty sad, but God got a plan for everybody. You know what I'm saying? But there's no way you shouldn't have been playing on Sundays in any Leathernecks. Anybody in that Gateway Conference, anybody you ever played against would say number 23, Buck Phillips is probably one of the best players I ever played against, whether it was defensive back, especially punt and kick return. So they ain't want to kick it to you. But with that being said, man, you had an amazing career. Again, you went through the worst in the world, man. I didn't realize until you told me about how a lot of colleges wasn't recruiting you. So shout out to Coach Ball, man, and all them people that took that chance on that man, because he forever set his cement at Western Illinois. You're going to be one of the best ever. And even though you didn't go to the NFL, a lot of us didn't, people are going to talk about Buck Phillips, man, period, in the discussion. So with that being said, man, you got any more things, any other folks you want to shout out, man?
No, of course, Lou and Frank
There it
going to
is.
Western.
There it is. I was
Them
waiting
was
for
my
that.
dogs. To me, East St. Louis was like a little North Chicago to me, and
They was
that's how
cold.
we bonded.
All them
Because
niggas cold and cold.
when you go to East St., they don't play no games out there.
Nah, it's
So
trill over there, dog. You can't even go through there. You can't even go through
no,
there unless you from there. You don't get recognized, you might not make it up out of there, man.
I know it. When I go there with Lou and Frank, and I know I'm good.
Cause they so good.
Them the cats that I gravitated to, because they took me in and we rolled like family. I mean, Lou stood up in my wedding, so
that's awesome,
that,
man. Hey man, and I'm have both of them guys on here too, because they were special to me too. But I'm telling you one thing too, real quick before we get out here, Buck, man. I want to give a heavy salute, man, to Lou Nichols, man. Lou Nichols, look, I ended up playing running back my junior year at Western, and I converted over to receiver to try to get my opportunity to play in the NFL, which it didn't happen. But I tell you one thing, the years you had at Western and the years I had at Western, we owe them hats off. Number one, them coaches giving us a shot, but Lou Nichols used to break cats' jaws. I seen him break a dude's jaw. I'm telling you, the best thing about him, man, he was like a shield. Just get to me. All he would say, just get to me, just get to me. Man, it was the best in the world. They kicked that ball and he breaks somebody's jaw. The next 5 or 6, 7 games, they punt the ball, they jogging down, they looking for him. They scared as hell looking for Lou. They couldn't even come tackle us because they looking for Lou. So I owe Lou so much. That's why I'm gonna have him on this segment, and I talk about him a lot when I talk about my bio at Western, because like I said, I didn't put up big numbers at running back. I didn't put up big numbers at receiver when I converted, but you damn right. That punt return, everybody's scared to do it. They gave me an opportunity. You kicked that ball. That was my time. And like I said, same thing with you. That was our real big common denominator. That might be the reason why we ended up on that damn schedule, because of Lou. So he don't get enough appreciation, man, for that, man. So I really want to take my hat off to Lou, man. Lou Nichols, man. He was probably one of the baddest niggas for me because he made me on that punt return. Kick return was cool. But the punt return, I knew I had a monster coming down and somebody was getting hurt. And I loved it. I got off on here and cack, and I'm gone. I see him do that. I'm like, yeah, I'm good. Once I get to that wall, I'm gone. But go ahead on and talk about a little bit, man. Because like I said, he made us, man. He really made us at Western Illinois, man. Lou Nichols.
Oh, Lou was my dog. That's why I never fair caught the ball. Because I knew, and I just watch him on field. He pointed somebody out. And I'm like, Lou, I'm coming to you. It might be a minute. I might have had to juke a few people, but I'm coming to you.
Yeah, they get it.
And I see him. As soon as they cleats go up off the ground, I'm running past him and laughing. And I'm like, and he was the setup man.
Hey, Lou is the truth, dog. Period. In the discussion, he was so solid. That's one of the solidest built niggas. Just his stature, like you know what I'm saying? He was just solid as hell. And I'm telling you another thing too, man. He never got no props. He never, all the touchdowns we would run, because you ran a lot of kicks back and so did I, dog. And he never got no props. I would say things about thank you, but he never got no props, and he never wasn't caring. He was just happy for us. He was so happy for me, man. You know what I'm saying? Run a kick back. He'd be the first one running down there, pointing at the nigga, getting knocked out, giving you hugs and things like that. He was so not selfish, man. I really love that man to death for that, man. He really made me at Western, dog, for real.
Hey man, and that's a true statement too. That's a true statement. He was there. He set it up. He got it started, and you know, just like I do, the first 2 down, and he taking out the first one. Yeah, then you going to the house after that.
Hey, I got off on that. Honest to God, I got off on him crushing people, setting them up, making them miss because he was quick. I love him crushing people. He was so bad, he was knocking 2 out. Like he hit 1 off his feet and took 2 or 3. And I'm like, man, we watch film. We used to be like, somebody finna die. But I seen him literally, no exaggeration, no lie. I seen him break a nigga jaw, dog, straight up, broke his jaw. And it wasn't fair, man, because he was killing cats. They couldn't even move. He was killing them. But I'm glad he played with us, man. And I'm glad he had our back, man. So like I said, man, major shout out, man. We got that in common. But we had a lot of things in common, man. And I really didn't realize that till we spoke a little bit, man. But from the bottom of my heart, man, I got to tell you, thank you so much, man, for being a real one, man. You was a real one from the door. You went through a lot, man. You know what I'm saying? God has blessed you with your family and things you got going on. I pray y'all stay healthy, man. But with that being said, man, I really owe you a lot just because, like I said, I lost my brother, man, and you took that place of that man just for the simple fact that y'all was so much alike. You was always so cool with me. You always held me to your heart, man. And you showed me the way. And like I said, I tried to beat everything you did. I tried to break him just for the simple fact of like, your big brother. You want to do everything he did better than him. But like I said, man, I'm so glad that we got back in touch and we talk and chatter. Let's forever live our lives, man. But like I said, let's love our brothers, our Leathernecks, man. But shout out to all the Leathernecks, man. If you went to Western, shout out to you, man. I can go down the line with a lot of guys, but on this bio, man, there's only got space for a few. And Buck, you the number one guy I had to get on here, man, because it was so personal, just because we went so far back. And like I said, it meant so much to me because my brother talked about you so much, man. And to me, that meant a lot to me. So I appreciate you being like a big brother to me. I appreciate you showing me the way, man. I appreciate you showing the way. But like I said, man, the NFL and all these other places, they missed out on you, Buck. They missed out on you, man. Like I said, I got my first tattoos because you didn't even know. Nobody didn't know it. But I wasn't getting no tattoos growing up. I'm like, I don't like needles. I ain't doing none of that. But when I seen that tattoo on your arm, you was swole as hell, boy. That thing said, buck him down. I said, yeah, that nigga put his life on his body. And it made it okay for me. You know what I'm saying? So now everything on my body, man, is a story of my life and things like that. So I want you to get on this platform, man, and tell your daughter and them and your wife and your friends. And that's what this is about, man. I want them to know. And in 10, 20 years from now, when they have kids and your boys have kids and things like that, I want them to know that you love them, man. And you just told them that, man. So I really appreciate you coming on this bio with me, Buck, and doing that for me, man.
Hey, man, I appreciate you jump starting this because you know me. I'm humble. I keep it to myself.
You ain't gonna talk about yourself. That's why when I talked about you on my bio, I talked about you the way I did. But I wanted to hear you talk about it yourself, man. I could talk about you for hours and hours and hours because you were so amazing to me. Like I said, I got stories from high school when you used to kill niggas. Man, you used to knock niggas unconscious all the time. It was an all-time thing you did. You know what I'm saying? Willing for block. Nobody do that, man. You know what I'm saying? Just being everything you was, man. You was an absolute truth. And like I said, a lot of people never gave you props. A lot of people never really knew, but I knew. So anybody that crossed paths with you, anybody that played with you, man, I wanted to celebrate you. And that's what this is, man. I'm celebrating them studs that had a big impact in my life. And you definitely one of the main ones that made me who I was, Buck. So I really appreciate you, man, on that. I hope you and your family stay healthy, man. And I really, really appreciate you coming on my bio, man, and doing this with me.
Man, I appreciate it all, man. I appreciate being that motivation for you to it. And now you went ahead and did some things and you made some of your best decisions because of me. So man, that's love, man. I appreciate it.
Well, with that being said, man, forever in my heart, man. Thank you so much, Buck Phillips, man. We definitely gonna keep in contact and do what we gotta do. But with that being said, man, how about your friends and family subscribe to my YouTube page, Chop It Up with Coco. And like I said, I really appreciate having the best, the legend, Buck Phillips, man. Leatherneck's father, man.
Appreciate you, brother.
Take care of yourself, Buck. I'll talk to you soon, buddy.
You too.